seem to have.
Hey there, it's Jen.
Well, hello, it's Elke, and welcome back to the Jen and Elke show, where we today are doing part 6 of our 7-part series, which is all about print on demand and how you can use print on demand in a more like business-like way, not just as a big cash grab, but as a way to have long-term sustainable passive income. And that's the topic for today, actually, is why most passive income advice is wrong and what actually works. Yeah, that's a kind of a weird title, especially if you're not, you just thought, okay, I'm just going to sell t-shirts, and why are we talking business here? But passive income is one of the most misunderstood ideas in the online business space. Most people are sold on that fantasy, and this is what we've been doing all along to try to dispel that. We have those big numbers, but we're not sitting here going like, "Ooh, I saw this t-shirt on Everbee and it's making this much money. You should make a copy and go for it." That is totally not a good business plan. First of all, it's also a copyright violation, and those other people that are doing well on that with that t-shirt have more to it than that. It's not just that design and that product and that listing. And so what you have to understand again is it's a fantasy, except there are real business opportunities when you do print on demand properly as a business. And that's why when it doesn't work, you assume the problem is them in a sense, right? Like the whole myth, the fantasy, the way that we have conceptualized it's supposed to work if we follow the plan. And so today what we're going to do is break down why most passive income advice is wrong and what actually works instead. And again, as I said earlier, this is part 6 of our 7-part series. If you haven't watched the other parts, please spend Saturday, Sunday doing that, just binge watching our series, because it's really been very informative. Lots of people have loved the series. They've made lots of comments, and you probably will really enjoy it too and get a lot out of it. So stay with us till the end. Ask a lot of questions. We're here live. We're not doing this as a recording. And so it's really important that you take advantage of that connection that we have together here for anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Don't wait till the last minute to ask your question because we're here and we'd love to interact with you and help you sort through this so that you do the very best that you can do for 2026 in your print-on-demand business, whether that's Shopify, Etsy, or one of the more fulfillment type platforms like Redbubble, Society6, or Zazzle, which is our favorite out of all of those. Okay. So do you have anything else to add? And how many people do we have on already? We have lots of people on, which is awesome. And are there any comments? Because I'm the one that's constantly going like, comment, comment, comment. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of it more than just us talking at you. We know what we're doing. We're successful already. We are clients that are successful already. So it's up to you to sit there and go like, okay, I'm going to be one of those next clients. I posted on Instagram this morning, actually, that we now have 47 people that we helped get to $1 million in sales. And I know that seems like a low number, but it's also a huge number because it takes a while to get to $1 million in sales. And that is like a huge accomplishment for a lot of people who currently didn't, like at that time when they started with us, did not expect that kind of success. They were just hoping and praying for a couple of $100 in, royalties and payouts per month. And now they're getting some consistent payouts anywhere from $5,000 or up with, and that's profit. That's not just a sale, right? So this is really important that you get involved and comment. And I know Dolores is right in there, but I don't see anyone else. So yes, please comment. Who thinks that this passive income thing is a myth? Put that in the chat. Because otherwise, we don't have to talk at you. We want to hear from you. Or do you feel like there's a little bit of an understanding of passive income that comes with it, and then you realize there's certain pieces to the puzzle? Okay, Oh, and the MVP Design says, I'm always learning something from Jen and Elke. Thank you. Shelley says, it isn't. It's not a myth. Okay, awesome. Who else is, sorry, just getting my lunch and a little bit late. Nelda. Yeah, I know this is a lunch series, isn't it? Do you guys like lunch series? If you like them, we'll do more. Okay, and Vivian says, not a myth. Just need to understand how it works. Perfect. I love that attitude. That is absolutely perfect. Okay, and CG Penna says, I never really understood the whole passive income thing. Well, and you've been with us for a while, and so actually that's a little bit of a surprise that you say that. I think it's just because you haven't been in our inner circle and our like proper training for a while. You started out with us, but I think there's so much that's changed. In print on demand in general, you've got to stay with it and keep up with the training. That's if you don't get anything else out of our current talk here today, that's important because to make it a passive income, you have to have your business running with a certain amount of knowledge of what's happening in the industry, right? So something that worked even 2-3 years ago doesn't really work anymore in terms of what you put out there or how you market and how you're positioning yourself on each of the platforms. But the principles of business stay the same, right? So our 5 strategy framework is always the same, but how you implement it changes. And so that's actually and what level of activity and things you need to do and the level at which you have to deliver those things is what's changing in the industry over time. Like there used to be a time where everyone could just upload clip art and sell it like hotcakes because it was a novelty to have a printed t-shirt with some clip art on it. But now everyone knows that they can just go and do that on their own with this AI generated prompt, and then they can find their own print on demand platform and throw this stuff up there. And so knowing that change in how the customer has developed, let's say, that's how you have to realize, okay, well, how do I still add value and compete and show up in that space so that I can still have people coming to my store, flocking to my store and buying stuff from me even when I'm sleeping, right? And it's not that you have to work 24/7, but it does mean that you have to do certain things to level up skill set wise, what you're offering, how you're positioning it, where you're marketing. And that's a big part of it. But if someone were to tell you how to do that in a simpler, easier way, then of course it becomes more passive, right? And that's what we're always here to do, is to help you bridge that gap and keep you moving forward and keep you up to date on things. Okay, we have a lot of other comments that came in, which is awesome. Okay, do I want to just say them, or do you want to comment on some of them, Jen?
You can say them. Go for
Okay,
it.
so we have cats and cat. I always feel mostly like people are misusing the passive income term. Well, exactly, especially it's also your experience with passive income, right? So if you haven't experienced it as a passive income, you're not going to believe it, are you? But once you do experience it as a passive income, then you realize some people are definitely misusing it, but others are truly asking you to understand it and conceptualize it and how it can work for you. Okay. Then Shireen says, it felt like a myth when I first started out, but I'm learning it now. It's not. Awesome person. That's perfect. Nelda, I think it more as that. It is certainly possible to take time off and relax, but you do have to pay a certain amount of attention to it. Exactly. And that's one of the things that we love about it. Like, have a doctor's appointment, go get our hair done, and go get a massage. And then, those are things you do during the day, let's say, and then you spend an hour in the evening, if that's the case, doing your work. Or some of our students and clients have like structured every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they work, and they work like 2 to 3 hours, and then they take the rest of the week off. Like, it just depends on what you're going to do, but like, that's passive. It's not 9 to 5. And also passive means that you are in control of that income as to how much it happens and when it happens, because you've offered things in a situation where the passiveness can happen, but you don't have to sit there and trade your hours and your time for dollars, right? So that's really the biggest part of that. Coming from a tax background, passive income has to do with royalties and such, which indeed means you do some work first, obviously, right? Like you write the book and then you get the royalties, and you put your products up in your store, and then if they sell, you get the royalties or whatever payout you get based on the income, the structure you've set out. So all that is great. I love these conversations. So, okay, point number one. Let's go into it because we're all primed and ready.
Okay.
Do you want to do it or should I?
I mean, you're on a roll, so go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do number one, but then you're doing number two. Okay, so point number one, passive does not mean effortless, which we've kind of talked about already. Passive income doesn't mean not doing anything or doing nothing, whichever way you want to say it, but I like the positive aspects of things. And it means that your effort is front-loaded and structured. And that is, I think, the best way that I've come across to help understand what it means to have passive income. Front-loaded and structured. Without structure, income stays fragile. And also the front-loadedness gives us a really great explanation, and I hope everyone resonates with that in the chat here that I saw on the side, that's exactly what we're doing. We're front loading to have payoff later, right? But the front loading has to be quite specific. Otherwise, you're not going to experience passive income because you're not going to get sales, right? And same with the front loading means that you don't want to keep doing certain things where you have to stay actively involved in order to make a sale. So even, what actually works and what makes passive income is you set up systems like putting things up on social media sites or Pinterest or getting your SEO correct so that your products feed right to Google. If you're on Zazzle, that's a really cool feature that we love about Zazzle, is that organically we can get a lot of referrals and views on our products because we just do the right thing. We post the right kind of products that people want to find and search and buy. And we also know that we've labeled them properly so that they do find our products on these organic searches, whether it's Pinterest or on Google or any other search engine. So that's really very important. So front end loaded and structure. So we're probably going to get into some more points on that as we move through. But keep that in mind and ask questions on that if you'd like in the chat while we're getting onto point two.
Okay, so point two is set it and forget it is why most people stall. So most sellers stop paying attention too soon. And we've touched on this, I think, throughout these past series for sure, is that if you are posting all these products for sale, thinking the more products that you have is the best thing to go for, and also not realizing what is working for you and analyzing the data and then forgetting about the products that are working and just going after the next shiny new thing. Because refinement, not constant creation, is what creates longevity, and maintenance is part of sustainability. And that's why we teach our clients the 5 strategies, and the 5 strategies are actually cyclical. And once you get to the fifth strategy, then you go back to the first one actually, and kind of like maintenance mode and reassess everything that's going on in your store. And most of our clients that are at that $100,000 mark in sales, in earnings, and $1 million in sales, like Elke mentioned at the beginning of this video, is that they're now at that maintenance mode, and where they're refining and retuning the things that are actually working for them and understanding what is working for them in the business, because they had such an amount of time to really build up the foundation. And there were some, products that never have sold for them, or maybe they've sold a little bit or not very much. But then there's other products that we have helped them understand, hey, this is something that's taking off, and let's understand really what's going on and how can we make it work even better and build off of that. And understanding the maintenance part of it too, and making sure that everything is working fluidly in your store. Because although passive income is something that Elke and I, we started out on Zazzle thinking and hoping that, we could work on it for a bit and then have it run for us for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, that is the dream, right? We want to have our freedoms and have time, location, and financial freedom, but there is an aspect of work still associated with that, and that comes with the maintenance and understanding how to structure it properly and always redefine. Plus, in this day and age, things are changing so rapidly in terms of technology, things in the world, trends, how people purchase things, what they're purchasing. So, and although passive income means that we can make money technically while we're sleeping, it still means that we still have to keep up to date on what's happening in our store.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And Made by Anna Matilda says, I really like this passive income in this creative market space like Zazzle, because I can work more when I feel inspired and enjoy creating, and other days still have sales without lifting a finger. I love it. That's exactly the point, and that just defines passive income so well. And for me as a creative, and like put in the chat if this is resonates with you, but me as a creative, as much as we teach consistency and continue to post, there is an element that if you're going to bring the best work to your store and designs, then we as creatives need that like channeling, I guess, so that we don't always function as well on some days compared to others. Like what Made by Anna said, like when I feel creative, that's when I do my best work. That's when I create those sellers that are going to be my long-term passive income sellers. But if I sit down and I'm not in the mood and I'm forcing it, then those usually don't sell as well, those designs. So I actually divide it up into times of creativity when I really know I'm on. And then those are when I make new designs and really focus in more on the creative and the future thinking. What can I add to my asset base productivity, compared to other days where you just know that if you make a new design and you're trying something new, that it just is forced, it's not going to work. And so I do more rote work at that point, managing my business, doing things that just don't require me to be as creative. So who's in that same boat? Because that makes a really big difference, and it really helps with the breaking it up into creative space, just doing work that you have to do, and then also getting your free time and not being stressed by having to be on all the time in order to be able to make the money. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Totally agree. I have to have museum days. I love that. Yeah, exactly. Because those are the days when you get creative, right? Or you just take a day off and you pamper yourself, because you're more than likely doing this as your second option for making income until it's your full income. And so you've got other responsibilities, and once in a while you don't want to just you just want to take some time off, right? And so that the more you earn, and the more chances of it's being stable and passive consistently, right? Because there's another aspect to it, and if we don't cover it in the points that we put together on our little list, I'm going to get into it later. Remind me, because there is an aspect of making it passive enough as an income that you end up having a minimum of earnings each month. Okay. So if I don't get back to that in one of our points, remind me about that, because there's something to talk about there that is a part of creating passive income. Because, and I don't want to spoil it, but if someone reminds me of that, I'll remember what I want to say. Okay. Who else says something else? As I have days when the ideas flow and it's fun, and others where I just can't get started. Awesome. And this is one of the reasons that we love print on demand so much, right? Jen and I especially, we're so every so often we can work till 4 a.m. We're so thrilled and excited. And then other days, like today, for example, I mean, we love doing these chats, but before that it was brutal. I was still in my pajamas an hour ago. and it's just it's a gray, wintry, cold day, and it's raining, and it's I just don't want to do anything. So we did all kinds of sort of to-do list stuff, but not that I was ever going to go and put something up on Zazzle, because I knew that would be wasted time and effort. Okay. Made by Anna says, yes, some days, I just do mock-ups, and that is quite too time consuming, and other days are creative roaming free. Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot of people resonating with that. Okay, my turn, right? With the points. I'm on point number 3. Okay. All right. True passive income is built, not hoped for. And hope is not a strategy. Scalable income is designed intentionally layer by layer. And I love this layer by layer analogy. I know we've talked about it a couple of times already. And I'll just put my last point in there and then I'll just talk about it. That's what creates stability. And it kind of almost hits that point that I was talking about, that I said I would talk about it at the end. And it's a bonus, so let's talk about it at the end. But income is not something that you get because you're hoping that you're going to make some money. I hope every single week when I play the lottery that I'm going to win that lottery. And every week I scan it and I go like a free ticket or $2 or $100. But gosh, I'm hoping for that $1 million because the jackpots are really high these days. Whenever I play, it's got to be over 30 million. And in Canada, there's no income tax on that. So that's just clear coming to Elke money. But it has yet to happen. And I've been playing the lottery for almost 20 years. And so it's just my vice. But the point is that I don't run my business like that, right? And so the layering by layering, which is the intentional layering of your business, comes from making each one of your products to like sort of pretend it's an employee. Pretend it's like you hired someone, which is you designing the product, and then you give them some more training. In that case, it's like we gave them the SEO, and we put a nice cover image on, and we did the labeling, titles, and tags, and we know that this employee was hired for the right job because the niche that we're hiring this employee for is definitely a popular niche where people want to buy stuff. So we've ticked all those boxes. We send the employee out and to do their job to go make sales, right? And then like a couple months later, you go like, well, how's this guy doing? Or how's this girl doing? And you realize, well, they're just sitting by the coffee cooler drinking coffee, or the water cooler drinking water, whatever. And you realize, okay, step up, right? Because you put the effort into that person, or in this case, our products, and now they're not performing. And so they're not doing passive income for us because we put the effort in initially, but it's not performing. But if it is performing, the product or the employee, if you want to keep with the analogy, then that means that person is on their own doing their own work, which is the product, right? It's doing its work. So we don't have to take care of it anymore. What we feel is happening in our business that it's not passive is because we're making more employees. We're making more products, and we're actually getting more people trained, so to speak, in our business to sell more. And so, but if we just keep doing that action of selling, making hires, let's say, or making products to build our business because we get more and more salespeople out there, which is our products, then what are we doing? We're not checking up, and we're not making sure those other ones that we put all that effort into are actually working. And so this is why it doesn't feel passive, because we're always in the actively enroll, like hiring more people. And if you now look at it and go back and say, okay, that person or employee has been there for 2 months, what's going on? I did a lot of work for that initially, and now it's not giving me that money. Then this is where you layer, okay? And the layering is you're going back to those initial efforts and seeing if you can still make those efforts like work, so that all the other stuff, all the other effort you put in initially does actually pay off. But I was just using the it didn't work scenario, but what if when you did the right job and you put it together properly so that this employee is actually performing after you did the initial work, then that's a layer. So that's one product. It's the first layer. The next layer, next product, next layer, next product. All of a sudden you've got 10 products or more consistently selling without you doing any more effort, really. And so that's how you scale, and that's how you create passive income. And like I said, if you get a certain number of employees working for you consistently every month, every day even, and all through the year, then you can actually literally expect a certain amount of income. That was one of the things that was so fun when Jen and I first were starting out. And it was like, at first we were all just like hoping there would be a sale. Then there were a couple of sales a day. Then there were a couple of sales every week, and then a couple every day. And then we realized, oh, well, this product's selling pretty much every single day at least once. And then all of a sudden, this product's selling 10 times every day of the week. And then you realize, oh, that's great. Those are the layers, right? And by having that consistency and knowing that that product was going to sell not only this month, but also next month and next year, and there was always this sort of average income that even if some products came a little bit down and some went up, there was a guaranteed income of money out of our group of employees or product inventory. Then that's really the best definition of passive income, because it means that just by having these in the store, and we've made them in the past, they're generating this much. It's called monthly recurring revenue. And that is when we realized, oh, we have a business. We don't just have a hobby. Because what we did was we layered and layered and layered. And all of a sudden we realized, even if we don't do anything else, those products, those layers are going to continue to give us that much income for at least a couple of months, right? Especially if we've done our job right and they sell every month. Okay, it was a very long explanation, but did everyone get that? I'm excited about this because this is why we're sitting here in our ninth year of coaching, because for 10 years earlier than that, even Jen and I were just sitting there in Mallorca having fun on the beach. Mm-hmm. And we knew that we were going to make this much money at the end of the month, even though we hadn't done anything in our stores for months, for years. Okay.
All right.
While we're waiting for more comments, let's go on to the next point.
Point number 4. So is that what the low maintenance? Yeah, beats no maintenance. Point number 4 is low maintenance beats no maintenance. So the goal isn't zero effort. And we've kind of covered that right now. We all know that we have to put in a little bit of effort. The goal is effort that's predictable and manageable in that way. That's what makes income feel supportive instead of stressful. And I think Elke just pretty much nailed it right there. And what she just spoke about is that like we were working on Zazzle and trying to figure it out. And we understood when we first started out that we needed to put in some effort, but we definitely had the ultimate end goal of having like no effort. At least I did. Being, fresh out of high school saying, oh, I never want to work a day in my life for the rest of my life. But now I understand many years later, obviously almost 20 years later, that the goal was predictable effort and manageable effort as well. And that brings back to the point where Elke said, making money consistently with passive income month after month, and probably what she's going to touch on after we finish all of our points that we want to cover to really dive deep into that, making sure that you have inventory for your income to come in with the stability without having that nervousness. Because I understand many of you probably resonate with this, especially if you're first starting out, or if, let's say, you have had reduced hours in your job, or you've just recently quit or even got laid off, is that you had with a 9-to-5 job that predictable income and also that salary, and you knew that you might have a pension or some sort of compensation package, etc. So a lot of our clients who have come into our community who have had those situations where now they're leaning towards Zazzle as a secondary source of income or their first source of income, or even trying to switch and say, I want to quit my job, but I'm feeling this nervousness because I can't predict what's going to happen. And I can't say, a month from now, I'm going to make this amount of money and this amount of money. We understand those fears, right? But it's not that you can't achieve those things. It's more so that you have to be strategic about it and know your projections and know your store inside out and understanding that you want it to become predictable, but what does that mean and what does that entail, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree. Okay, point number 5, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so point number 5, passive income requires clarity. Confusion kills compounding. So that layering, which is another word for compounding, and confusion kills it because, yeah, if you didn't know exactly which one of your products was delivering so much money per month, and then you weren't monitoring it to actually see whether or not it's truly consistent. And then if you were monitoring it and it goes up, great. If it goes down, you start doing something about it. It's no longer a passive income source, right? You're trying to figure out what you can do to improve that earnings for that product that you had set out that had a certain expected income potential. And then what do you do about it in your store? Do you make it up with another product? Do you put it in with do you like give that employee like some extra training, put it out there again, make it go in front of more like social sites or whatever it is. And this is what we teach in our Profit by Design Academy, all of these tricks and pieces of strategy as to what to do if something's doing well or if it's doing poorly. And then when products, positioning, and systems are clear, because that's what we teach in the Profit by Design Academy, income becomes easier to maintain, right? And so as much as we talk about sitting on the beach, that was done not just because we threw up a couple of products and they turned out to be bestsellers, and so therefore we could just take time off. No, we were consistently building a very strategic inventory in multiple different niches that were consistent sellers over the years in terms of where people would buy things irrespective of trends, etc. And all of those things together culminated in the ability for us to just say, hey, it's working, and we know that it's going to make this much money for us every month. Okay. And yeah, you know how when even the statement where it says clarity reduces friction everywhere, that's what I just explained, right? Instead of we've got to find another bestseller, or what if this one doesn't keep working? Instead, we were just calm. We were just relaxed, and it was like, okay. And one of the other things that was really cool is obviously you're not going to know how to do this right off the bat, and you're going to feel more confident in having this system in place once you see it happening for you. Like you get the results, and then you realize, not only, oh, I did it, but also you realize I can do it again, even if that one fails. So who resonates with that? Because as a beginner, and you're even on this live here to see whether or not you're interested in working with us. Some people have come right in and done every program we've ever offered, which is awesome, and they've benefited from it a lot, obviously. But even if you have taken our programs and you're not doing so well, it's a belief that you have the ability to do that, right? And it's just a matter of working it through so that you just hear and see and actually implement the actual pieces of the 5 strategy framework with your store as your playground. Okay, really good point to make. I was reviewing one of our clients that we give people a bonus 4 months into the strategy, or sorry, the Profit by Design Academy experience. We come back and check on you to see how you're doing, because we give you so many things to do, and literally you're supposed to be making 100 products a month, posting them on Pinterest, putting them in collections, putting them in the store category properly, doing mock-ups, blah, 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 blah. Like every single thing that you need to do to keep up with the competition in this environment for the Zazzle platform in 2026. And I was just reviewing someone's store because they did the cohort in October, and I didn't have anything to say because the person followed every single step, because we actually give you even a store and products and links to see exactly what it looks like, exactly how to make it, exactly how to design it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I want to say we created that store because you said we gave you a store, but yeah,
yeah. Okay, sorry. Say it again.
Well, Elke and I created a sample store for our course, and it is a real existing store on Zazzle, but it is a store that we created for the intention of you being able to look at the products that we created in that store and follow the steps, obviously not copy, but follow the steps to recreate your own version of those products that we created. So you don't have any second guessing. You know exactly what the design theme or design style should look like. You know exactly what category it's supposed to go into, and also what collection it's supposed to go to, what title you're supposed to use, and also what tags. And so it's all set up for you. And I just wanted to preface that. So it's something that Elke and I created, so it makes it easy for people to visually see all the steps that are included in making those 100 products.
Yeah. And so this particular person did the work, and she did it so well that everything was top notch in her store in terms of what we taught. And now she can see the benefit of having done it to that level of perfection in terms of the designs, but also just in terms of all the little bits and pieces that are so crucial to getting her listing seen, being in the right niches, having that, having the products being made at a consistent schedule, so that she's always posting into the marketplace at a routine basis, which all helps to getting your listing seen on the Zazzle platform. And so, yeah, so it was just like, girl, you've done the work. And because of that, you haven't talked to her yet, but I know how much she was struggling before she was in the PDA experience. And because she didn't conceptualize it, she couldn't understand how it looked, how it felt, what was needed. And going through the process, now all of a sudden her design skills are leveled up, her productivity is leveled up. It's just incredible. And I just was blown away. And that is what has to happen. Then you start to believe, oh, it's possible, and oh, this is what it takes to do that. So I really want to keep honing in on that, to explain that you can't feel like you believe it and can do it yet if you haven't tried it and walked through it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. All right. Point number 6 is systems create freedom, not shortcuts. So shortcuts create spikes. Systems create freedom. And freedom comes from knowing your business works even when you step back. And so that's sort of just a conclusion to the whole thing, because a lot of our clients who are now succeeding have potentially been working on Zazzle. A lot of them are brand new, and a lot of them had been on Zazzle for a while. And many of you could potentially resonate with this as well, is that not that you're creating an intentional shortcut, but you might be creating shortcuts without realizing it. And, or you might be saying, well, this is easier to do right now, so I'm just going to focus on this, or this is the best and easiest thing. You know, I'm bringing back to the beginning of this video where Elke mentioned, there's so many people on social media right now saying, oh, well, this statistic on Etsy says that this seller has sold $1,000 worth of this t-shirt, so you can quickly go and make your own version and post it for sale, and you can basically expect the same results, right? And that's a complete lie. It's also copying, and it's giving you false hope and advertisement of what is to make a passive income, right? And who knows where those statistics came from, whether that t-shirt that originally was selling has been on the market for 10 years, has it sold in the last month? Is it just something that went viral? There's no thing that can really guarantee you as your own seller that potential income by looking at other people's things. And so if you've seen people like that, that's one shortcut for sure on the print on demand space. And then on Zazzle, there's other shortcuts too, where you think that, for example, you just kind of do all the colorways or all of the different product types or all of the designs. And those are your sort of not technically a shortcut making it less work, but the shortcut to long-term gains, let's call it that. But unfortunately, that's not a systematic procedure and not strategic. And so freedom, when we talk about financial freedom, location freedom, and also time freedom, means that you're having your actual business work for you, right? Elke and I have been able to travel the world because we were working on Zazzle. And if many of you don't know, because I do see and hear, like, see some new faces and see some new names, is that when I first started out my Zazzle business, it took me about 2 years to kind of get it up and running. But I was fresh out of high school and going into university, and I actually ended up dropping out of university in my second year, and I kind of worked part-time in my second, third year. But then after that, I actually moved over to Spain when I was 19 years old and lived there for 10 years and ended up moving back right before COVID in 2019 to Canada, which is where I live now. But I was living in Spain for 10 years on my own, independent, only making money from my Zazzle business, because when I moved over there, there was the unemployment crisis. I also didn't know how to speak Spanish. I'm now fluent, though, and I can speak bilingually, but I didn't speak Spanish. And also I wasn't hired because at any place, I had even contracts in my hand from my ex-partner's business. And I wasn't hired by the government because I was an immigrant and I didn't speak the language. And they said that people who are unemployed on the streets deserve the job better than I do. And so there was no way that I could actually physically work. And so thankfully, my Zazzle business gave me the opportunity to provide for myself in Spain. And I lived on the island of Mallorca. And if anybody knows Ibiza, and Mallorca is becoming a much more well-known name now because of social media, but it's a beautiful island in the Mediterranean. And I spent most of my time at the beach. I would work a couple hours in the morning, and then I had the entire afternoon or morning, whenever I decided to work, to go to the beach and just enjoy my life. And it was a really luxurious time in my life, which I do miss, but it's a different point in time in life now, where different things happen. But that freedom allowed me to travel. It allowed me to rent an apartment, pay for my financial bills, purchase a car. And everybody who was my age back at home in Canada, who was, early 20s, 20, 21, they were still working part-time jobs at bars to pay off student debt, and we're still in university. And not that my life was better than theirs, it's just different, because I looked at the opportunity and I really focused in on making my Zazzle business a business, not just a hobby. And if you were to ask me 2 years prior if I ever thought that I would be able to move to Spain and live there and then have my mother visit, 3 months on end, because you can stay there without a residency for 3 months in Europe. My mom came and visited me, twice or even potentially 3 times a year while I was living there. And she was able to do that because she also worked on Zazzle, and her Zazzle earnings allowed her that flexibility. And so it just opened up a whole new world for us, where we were able to really enjoy those freedoms. Clearly, your freedoms, everyone here online, are different than mine when I wanted to travel and do the things that I want to do as a young 20-year-old. But freedoms for me now and other people might be paying off financial bills, or being able to support a person who's dependent on them, whether it be an elderly person in your life or somebody who is younger than you, but they're dependent on your income, or, buying a new home or purchasing a new car. And so the freedoms that we speak about, they don't have to be luxurious, and they don't have to be life-changing, but most of the time they can definitely be that, right? Even the small, significant ones. And so to inspire you to really understand what we've been talking about in this 7-part series, is that you really have to see it as a potential, but really be structured about it and be responsible for it, because nobody is going to be over your shoulder telling you exactly what you need to do, unless you come into our Profit by Design Academy and you actually stick with the program. Because Elke and I aren't like messaging you or calling you every day, but we've laid the work out for you so that you can follow the proven plan. But besides that, no one else is telling you to show up to this live today and forcing you to do that. You made that choice on your own. And so that's even one more step towards understanding how you can really treat your Zazzle business as a business and implement those structures, and then create those freedoms for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well said. Now we've got some comments in the chat, but I've already addressed the one where Donna said, what's the program that I was talking about? And then Made by Anna says, and Jen just left. Okay, she's probably coming back. Made by Anna says, do you use some analytics tool to analyze your bestsellers, or just based on sales reports? Zazzle has really good analytics. for your own stuff. Like you can't personally look at other people's analytics on the platform, not like Etsy, but you can look at your own, and there's a lot of really cool metrics that you can look at in order to see what the next step is for each of the products. And in the Profit by Design Academy, there's 5 modules that all go along with our 5 strategy framework. And the 5th strategy is the analyze strategy. And that module has 6, I think, or even 7 videos that are about 20 to 30 minutes long each, that goes through in absolute detail, excruciating detail, because I like that. I'm a big analytic geek, and I've walked through every possible scenario interpretation so that you can look at all those numbers and then you can really understand, oh, that means I should be doing this, etc. So I hope that helps. But yes, you are definitely using sales data as part of it, but then you can also use views. You can use when like orders, your conversion rate of how many views do you need before someone buys from you, and you can start improving that conversion rate so that you get more like bigger and bigger sales numbers from that one product. You can also increase your average customer conversion rate, average customer value, which means that one sale can give you on average like $5 as profit, for example, or as $10. And a lot of our clients and our students have really worked the system in terms of how you offer the products and what you offer as additional products. And so they can come away with products, or one customer giving you as the profit, not the sale, somewhere between $100 to $200 in one order. And if you have 10 orders a day, that's $2,000 a day, right? And we have a lot of clients that are in the $5,000 to $10,000 a month earnings level because they've set up the systems based on what our training is, which is really nice. Now, for anyone who's absolutely new, like Donna, please don't expect $5,000 a month right off the bat, because we're the first to say we're not those people that say you can make $5,000 or $100,000 in a month. This takes time and consistency to layer and layer and layer. But then once you do, there are people that we've helped over the course of the time that we've been training people, whether it's they've taken like 5 years or if they've taken 2 years. It just really depends on you as to what you put in place and how quickly you put it in place. But we've had really good success rates. Now, again, all of this is that worked for them. Will it work for you? I don't know. You have to do the work, but they use that system and they got those results. So then you decide if you believe that it's possible for you with our system. Okay. Any other comments? I live in Spain. I'm also immigrant working. The goal now is to not have to work and only do Zazzle, said Made by Anna Matilda.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Spain is lovely. Well, I love traveling, so any place is nice. That's okay. Are there any more comments or questions about anything? I did say that I would talk more about the level of that bonus, which I can do right now, if there's no more questions about what we talked about. So again, and I touched on it a little bit already, but let's just recap. Who would love to have the knowledge that they could rely on their Zazzle store or their Etsy store or Shopify store to consistently generate a certain amount of money every single month? Who would like that? Say yes. Because if you say no, then why? You're just having fun listening to us talk while you're having lunch. or I don't know. The answer should just be yes, but we need participation. Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now, yeah, who wouldn't, right, Vivian? Okay, and me, so yeah. So, but then a lot of these people that we know you and you've been around in a long time, and so is it happening for you right now? That's the next question. This is where I'm a little bit laughing, but I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the situation because we all hope and want, right? But is it truly happening? And if it's not happening, we have to be really honest. And yeah, I know Neld, it's working for sure because she's doing it. She's got our training, working through it, says Vivian. Yeah, and we have to hear from the others that said, no, you don't have to feel guilty of eating. I just finished eating just beforehand. I still have my plate right here. It's all good. Yeah. What else? Starting gradually, says Srini. Very slowly, but poco a poco, yes. And it was until the past 2 years. Okay, good. Yeah, because see, since the last 2 years, a lot of things have shifted, not only on the Zazzle marketplace in terms of how they pay out, because that a lot of our clients that we know for a long time have been on Zazzle. They've been on other platforms too, but the Zazzle platform changed. And so our shift in our new PDA training shows you what that shift is that you need to make. So that's really important that you get that new training. And then Shelly Ann says, life happened. I know life happens for us too. I had COVID, long COVID for like a year and a half. It was really ridiculous. I just had to just say, okay, well, that was that. And then just start again, right? And Donna says, I haven't started yet. I have everything I uploaded set on hidden. Okay, well, then you are the prime candidate for us to talk to you and work with you in the next month. We have a cohort, a bonus cohort coming, opening up in February. So we sign on now because we're only taking a limited number of people because we coach for a whole month. And we get really deep and personal with everybody because we want to make sure that your store is set up properly, your designs are done properly, all of that. And so we only take a limited number of people, first come, first serve. So come into that program for sure if you want to get that. And I'm in the middle of asking this question. So we said, would you like it? And then next, is it happening for you, right? And a lot of you said slowly but surely. And some of you have a good excuse. And then others are like, it's working slowly. So why is it working slowly? Why is it not at where you want it to be? And so that's where you have to, that's where we're going to leave you with this today, because we're not going to give you an answer. We have to like look at your store. We're never going to give you like an easy answer. But the secret is in understanding, first of all, are you, let's give you some pointers. Are you currently monitoring the products, like let's say the top 5 products that you sell in general in your store? Like, do you have the stats on those, right? Like, do you know how much you've made in December of your top selling product? And you can always do it like in terms of sales, but it's easier just to do it in terms of what Zazzle pays you out for that product. Like, how much has that employee earned you during the month of December? If you don't know that stat, that's the first layer that you're missing, right? You're not doing strategy 5. You're not analyzing what your business is bringing into you and helping you get to that passive income. If you don't have a bestseller, and what do you like? What's your best? Like, you have to have a bestseller. You have to have something that, let's say, sold in the last year in 2025. What was your top selling product, and then how much did it make? Right. And so then the next thing you have to ask yourself is, okay, let's say my product made me $200 and your total that you made last year was $1,000. So then you know that 20% of your income came from that bestseller. Okay. So then could your bestseller actually be making you more than $200? Or any matching products or any like existing additional things that you could use that design on and to build out your passive income, since that's a proven bestseller for you, even though it's only making you $200, which seems little, but have you leveraged it? That's what I'm asking. And I'm sure the answer is no. And then the other thing is okay, well, do I have 10 other or that was 20%. So do I have 8 other products? Is that the math? This is where my brain trips up. But do you have like another couple of products that are also giving you $200 in a whole year? And if they're not, then you are have to understand what phase of your business you're in, right? You are in the growth phase then, because you don't actually have anything that's a truly workable, scalable, layering product. You're just constantly working on a hamster wheel, trying to get one product to make one sale, one product to make one sale. And that's tiresome, and it's not going to help you. And then also for anyone who was sick, who couldn't just leave their store and at least stayed pretty even, if just a little dip. But if it made a big dip, like some of you noticed after the ambassador program got instituted in April of 2025, then you knew that that actually made your the vulnerability of your business more obvious, because not everybody had that issue. In fact, a lot of our clients, they might have seen a little bit of a dip, and then they used our strategies and or also came in and did coaching with us if they had to really revamp things, because they also had a gap or a hole in their business, but they reasonably and quickly made the money back, okay, that they were losing, and also now consistently are making even more money than they ever did before, because the issue with the decrease in the earnings actually was an issue in their business, not because Zazzle changed the payout schedule, okay? And because of that, their business is now stronger than ever before in terms of the layers. All right. That's my little speech there with but that was extra and a really good helpful bonus. But that's already things that you can think about. And listen, if you do feel like, gosh, I didn't even think about half of these things, I just need someone to talk to. I need someone to work with. We have multiple different programs, obviously. And if you are currently not in our Profit by Design Academy experience and you had like a really old version of our Profit by Design Academy, it's time to come in to do the experience again. And then if you have been in the experience in one of our cohorts and you just want to get really like blast through this a little bit quicker, and you want to keep having our eyeballs on you and literally stand behind you on because we do have coaching programs which we'd love to talk to you about. If you want to have a session, like a 10-minute call, we can do that.
Donna says, because if you're a beginner, she says, I haven't started yet. I have everything uploaded, but set and hidden. Which one would be for the beginner?
The Profit by Design Academy, which is actively enrolling now. And I did comment on that afterwards, and you said you'd have a look. And so that's exactly where you need to be. But there were people that have been absolutely brand new, and they said, I want the course, and then I also want the coaching, because I don't want to wait. And then they just had the money to come in and do both. So it's all up to you as to which way you want to go. And we have taken people from absolutely beginners, zero sales, very little experience, and brought them to a good 10, like a 5-figure profit by the end of the year. Like we have one lady that went from basically 0 to 50,000 in 1 year earnings. So if like it does happen, but you have to do the work too. Okay.
And I know I do see some familiar names like Shelly Ann Vickers, and she said she hasn't even been able to implement, because she's been part of our courses before. She hadn't been able to implement anything, but now she finally has time. So anyone who has been part of our previous courses, like Elke mentioned, this is the new updated version, and the old courses actually aren't even really relevant anymore. And I'm not too sure if people, like, depending on which course you bought, if you still have access to that one or not. But I highly recommend that you come into the new one, because it has everything updated from, of course, Zazzle's platform and all the different changes. But then we've just restructured the whole course to be easier for people to follow. And it has this thing called the playbook, which we mentioned, where we have our sample store and we help walk you through creating those 100 products with the titles, tags, design, theme, and also the collections and the categories. And so it's pretty, like, everyone who has taken it and has taken previous courses from ours, they say it's the best version yet. And they're so happy that they decided to come in again and implement what we are teaching now.
The other thing that's really important is that a lot of people struggle with their time when they're creating cover images and the collections. And so they leave that. And now that's actually part of the whole like, because Zazzle, you can't pay ads to have your listings seen at the top. You have to do all this organic work. And so you're paying for the ads, so to speak, by paying with your time to get these collections done and the cover images done. And we have templates for you. We have AI bots for you. We have AI prompts for you so that you can truly do it in even less than a month to get those 100 products listed and seen and promoted and all of the stuff you need to do to jump through the hoops easily, okay? And then you can repeat it next month and the month after and the month after. We've literally given you a business plan and told you, okay, if it hasn't gotten views, do this. If it has gotten views, how many? Do this. And so we have a strategy and we have the basics. So Donna, you would be incredibly taken care of. You don't want to learn all this on your own and through trial and error. Okay. Awesome. Okay. And then we have to finish this out, right? Or unless there's more questions.
No, I think that's it. So would you like to finish us out?
Okay. So hold on a second. I don't have my window open with the conclusion here. Okay. So if passive income has ever felt disappointing or harder than expected, it's not because you can't do it. It's usually because the foundation wasn't built correctly. And that's why we just spent some time talking about what will create that transformation and foundation for you is the Profit by Design Academy. We created a free resource as well that explains what sustainable passive income actually looks like and how to build it the right way. It's linked below. So it's this guide that we're asking you to, it's actually like more of a assessment of what it is that you need in a passive income business. And if the answer to a lot of this stuff is no, then you realize you're not actually, building and you don't have the structure of a passive income business yet. You might just be working really hard making products, but you're missing out on all the other pieces that go along with it. Okay, and tomorrow is our final live in the series, and we'll be sharing exactly what to do if we were starting from scratch today, which is awesome. And don't forget to come. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern, just like the others. And we have just so much enjoyed getting to know some people and hearing from you here. Just keep on coming tomorrow and have lunch with us again for anyone who's doing lunch in that time zone. Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.